Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we are back again with another Alliance War video, and this is the last war of season 11. So this war is still not really finished, but we have cleared the map. We did exceptionally well this time and we are finishing super strong, so can't wait for kind of like this season to be over, but nonetheless. So I am on path 4 in section 1. This is kind of like more or less my standard path these days, and the first fight is Mordo with Spite and that unstoppable buff. So since it has Spite on, I basically don't want to trigger it, so I'm just gonna rely on heavy and parry. I will not be dexing. My goal is not to trigger any dexterity buff on me, and that will let me to kind of like avoid Mordo's power gain. However, here unfortunately he does sneak in his own power gain, so he fills a bar of power. So at this point I'm surely gonna eat a level 1. Luckily Mordo doesn't really hit all that hard, we had class advantage, so that level 1 hardly did any damage to us, and now he drops only taking 5% of our health. So it's a fairly easy fight overall, nothing kind of like to worry about too much. That I was just checking if I actually recorded the first fight. And now we're moving on to a bit more trickier node. This is Hyperion on Aspect of War and Spite as well. So this is one of the kind of more BS nodes in entire war. Quite often you can see Hyperion on there, or like Nick Fury and so on. So it is definitely not a straightforward fight, and I will actually make kind of like a tactical error during this fight. I will definitely make some mistakes in my game plan gameplay, and I actually got kind of like really worried during this fight. So my plan should have been super simple. Start off with a heavy attack and then build to level 2. And here we can see the first big mistake I did is I did not heavy first. It kind of like dropped out of my head and I made a mistake, and then I was kind of too concerned about dropping my level 2 to stop his power gain, and that means his Aspect of War Unstoppable will kind of rage uncontrollably. Now I definitely do need to get a heavy attack in here, but in the meantime we have lost all of our Furies and a lot of our damage output, and now our level 2 Petrify has worn off. But still, at this point I'm still like not too worried. I made a mistake again there. I should have refreshed my slow, and then I should have chained my level 2 to my heavy attack to have both the US active. And now the problem bit kind of starts, because well, he punched me there to begin with, and now he's gonna go unblockable at any point. Now he's already unblockable, and now the finish of this fight is going to be fairly tricky, because I can't parry him, so I can't heavy him, I can't punish his special attacks with my heavy, so I have to be kind of extremely tricky. And this is like exactly the reason why Hyperion is good on this node, because if he starts spamming his special attacks, he's going to be constantly unstoppable and eventually unblockable. So I did catch an opening there for my level 2. We did some damage to him that also should keep his power gain in check. And now he drops a heavy attack. I find an opening. Let's go in. Hopefully this combo can finish him off. And yes, we did walk away with a win, but it was definitely kind of fairly bad and dodgy fight from my side, and it got me scared for a bit. But so far so good anyways. We haven't died. And now we need to deal with this Juggernaut kind of in the middle. So he has Power Focus, Brute Force, and some other unstoppable stuff, and a lot of annoying things. But Captain America is really good at dealing with Unstoppables and Unstoppable Colossus, because he can just basically ignore it so long as I have at least one kinetic charge on me. Now, originally I would have probably used She-Hulk in this fight, but since She-Hulk sustained some damage, I just figured I'll go in with my Cap. Why not? He can handle this fight extremely well, and as we saw there, we finished the fight with a massive level 2 crit, 77 Ks, 14 hits, absolutely nothing to worry about. Then I also got asked by my battle group leader if I can take out that Captain Marvel movie mini boss, and well, she was still linked, so I checked the buffs she had. She had explosive personality, enhanced armor up, aggression armor, pessimist, so there's nothing kind of like too special. Also, Captain Marvel really isn't the toughest opponent to fight, and since we can, we just can go in with Quake. Now I don't run Suicides this time, so my damage is quite a bit less than it normally is, because typically when I use Quake in Alliance War, I always kind of like to run Suicide Masteries, but for this war, I kind of decided that I will just stick with the Mastery setups that I have on currently. And as we can see, while that Pessimist is active, or was it Optimist, she is not really taking much damage, plus the Willpower heal is healing her back up a bit as well. So initially I was a bit too worried, but then once we got her below 75%, the damage kind of like amplified a bit, because her physical resistance disappeared from that node, and we're pretty much good to go. So now we're dealing like 6k a tick, and she's at 61% already. We have been fighting for about 50 seconds, so I clearly can see that I will definitely have enough time to finish this fight out. And other than that, there's pretty much nothing to worry about. I don't care how high her armor is, or she has explosive personality, or any of that stuff, because we're not really going to be hitting her, aside from like an occasional heavy maybe. And now we have minute and 50 seconds left in the fight. She's at 40%, so we're going steady. We're not taking any blocked hits, we're not parrying, we're just avoiding everything she throws at us, and the fight is well under control. Even if we do slip up, we wouldn't die in like a single combo or anything like that, so I feel like super safe at this point. Just last 18%. Now we're in assassin's range as well, just basically need to finish her out here. So she's at 5%. I'm going to drop a heavy here, but that armor did mitigate a lot of heavy damage, so I'm going to have to wait for another set of aftershocks to kick in, and now the fight is over. So very simple. That was kind of like my first section of this war, which I did straight after waking up in the morning, as I do prefer to actually play Alliance War early in the morning rather than before heading to bed. And now for for section 2, I'm doing path 2. This is the first time I have ever stumbled on the left side of the map. I have never done any of the first 3 paths, so this was all like fairly strange to me, but regardless, it's just Nebula there. It's a rank 1 as well, so I'm not too worried. I'm gonna put on the boost just because we were trying to go for Deathless War in our BG, and so yeah, I didn't want to be the one who kind of fails, and I'm gonna put on like medium level boosts. I'm gonna go in with my cap. And as I was picking my champions here, like that encroaching stun actually kind of worried me, just because Quake doesn't really launch specials ever. She can like negate encroaching stun. If she's charging heavy attack at the time, it would expire, but it's still a bit risky. Captain America, typically you want to do level 2, but it's like really quick and it's going to be hard to time it. And level 1 has bleeds on it. So because of empowered immunity, if I drop my level 1, she's going to be gaining power. And She-Hulk, well, I didn't really want to heal up She-Hulk. I would have probably went in with She-Hulk and relied on my like level 1s to deal with this fight. But yeah, I didn't want to heal her up, so I just went in with Captain America. So now, as the timer is about to expire, we drop our level 1, as we can see, and because she's bleed immune champion, because of empowered immunity, she gained a bunch of power back. And Captain America's special attacks, 1 is a bit longer animation wise, and 2 is like extremely short, so I really need to be careful timing out the special. My champions are definitely not kind of like well adjusted to fighting and crouching stun, and there I also got caught because I launched my level 1 just a bit too early, but since Cap, he can take a punch, Nebula isn't really kind of like the hardest hitter either, and so after I saw that, I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm losing this one. And yeah, so another heavy attack and Nebula goes down, so that was definitely one of the easier fights for the war. And now we're gonna move on to Gladiator Hulk. So he also has empowered immunity and oscillate. I do not like oscillate node whatsoever. I know there are like very good ways around it, but it's just one of those nodes, because when they have that big fury up, they deal a lot of damage if you mess up, and when that armor phase goes up, they're just super kind of annoying to bait special attacks, and it's kind of like a game of patience. So since I had really no issues using Quake in this fight, that is exactly what I'm gonna do, just because kind of like I don't like the AI changes with oscillate node. I also don't like Gladiator Hulk period, just because occasionally I still slip up on those smash attacks, and Quake can just ignore all of that. because I don't care how AI behaves. I don't care whether he has a smash attack or he doesn't have a smash attack. And I just need to sit in my corner, await his attacks, and be done with it. So I absolutely love using my Quake in these kind of scenarios when the AI might kind of like behave differently than you normally see them do. And then when you use Quake, you're just at ease. You don't have to worry about what AI is doing. You just sit in a corner, await their attacks, and finish the fight off. So 1 minute, Gladiator Hulk goes down. And then I also got asked to deal with this champion and Spider-Gwen later on. So for the champion boss, I kind of checked his nodes. There wasn't anything kind of like too annoying. Buffet is the only kind of thing we need to keep in mind. Now I was thinking whether I should heal up She-Hulk, but then I figured I'll just save up my potions, and I'm gonna go in with Quake, because since champion isn't on the final node, his regen shouldn't be that bad, and I shouldn't have much problem taking down this champion boss like within the 3 minutes, because yeah, his regeneration isn't going to be as powerful as it normally would be if you face him like on final node in the quest, which is where we are often used to seeing this guy. And other than that, he doesn't really have anything special going for him except that buffet, which I do need to be careful with. But as long as I don't accidentally slip up and use my heavy attack, he will pretty much never get that buffet heal, because I'm not getting rid of my dexterity buff. So buffet Quake doesn't really have problems with that node. It's just if you mess up and if you accidentally land a hit on them, then they trigger buffet, and that can be annoying. But yeah, so as you can see here, 50 seconds in the fight, he's at 34%. We're just dodging everything he throws at us, absolutely no problem. Now he goes unstoppable here and he has some fury, but we don't really care since we're awaiting all of his attacks. It's kind of funny because after the first fight, Quake was at 95% health, and slowly but surely, because of salve mastery, we healed her up to 97%. So all the last fights we used Quake, opponent didn't even get to touch our block once. And now we have to deal with this Spider-Gwen. She has immunity on her, so she's going to be immune to concussion and to stuns, and there's like power lock 1 and another bunch of nodes that don't really matter, to be honest, because once again we're going to go back in with Quake. Okay, she's stun immune, so we're going to have to kind of be a bit more careful while we're quaking. We're not going to get to have these breakdown times while she would be stunned, but other than that, it's not a tricky fight at all, just like everyday regular fight for Quake. Slowly but surely she's going down, and yeah, I feel super solid and confident in this war. So yeah, that will be pretty much it for my participation in this war. I didn't get asked to do any of the middle mini bosses this time. I probably could have taken a couple of them, but once they were cleared, there were people who had already boosted. We did finish in our BG with 0 deaths, so that was awesome. And yeah, that was the last war for the season. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and yeah, don't forget to come back for more. See ya.